Math 8, Unit 2, Transformations, Lesson 4, Part 1. Transformations, Introduction to Rotations. There are three basic ways you can move objects on a flat surface. And these are the rigid transformations that preserve congruence. The first way is you can translate the object. When you translate an object, you have to have two pieces of information. You need to know the distance that you are moving it and the direction you're moving it in. Usually we get this as a vertical distance and a horizontal distance. How far up and down, how far left and right. Those two together give us a distance and direction. The second way you can move an object is to reflect it. So you can reflect the object, and in order to reflect an object, all you need to know is what line to reflect across. All right, and then this last one, to turn or rotate an object. When you rotate an object, you have to know a couple of things. First, you have to have a center somewhere that doesn't move that you're rotating around. The second thing is an angle to rotate. Now, the angle to rotate includes in which direction. So a certain number of degrees clockwise in this picture. It could be counterclockwise. That's kind of just like a negative angle. And then positive angle, possibly counterclockwise or clockwise. I think it's actually the other way around, but you're not going to get into that until you do trigonometry. So in your notes, and I recommend pausing the video if you need more time to copy this down, which you probably will. I can recognize, describe, and perform rotations. A rotation, or turn, is a transformation in which a figure is rotated about a point called the center of rotation. The number of degrees a figure rotates is called the angle of rotation, and it could be counterclockwise or clockwise. And then there's a little picture there. You may want to pause the video now. Okay, now that you've got that finished, just the basic idea of rotation. I'm going to rotate triangle ABC 90 degrees clockwise around point D. This, without using a coordinate plane, would be rather difficult to accomplish. Let me give you an idea of what it would take. You would have to measure the distances of each of those points from the center of rotation. I have marked them in purple, red, and green here. Then I would need to create a 90-degree angle and measure out those same distances in the clockwise rotation direction. And then I can connect those together, and I get A prime, B prime, C prime, the 90-degree rotation of ABC. Now, we're actually going to have a little easier time with it because we are doing it in the coordinate plane. Graph the image of the figure using the transformation given. So here you can see I've done the three different measurements using the red, the green, and the blue line. And I'm going to rotate halfway around, so 180 degrees around. You can see Q prime is going to end up directly above it. J prime along this red line all the way over. And this one I've made so that we can visually see the rotation 180 degrees. And it lines up right over here. And this would be Q prime. J prime at the other end of the red line, and H prime at the other end of the green line. Okay, on the next example you can see that I also made the marks and rotated 90 degrees. And so you can visually see it rotating 90 degrees, and it lines up with those points. This would be L prime. This point right here is B prime, and the point down here is S prime. And that's a 90 degrees counterclockwise rotation around the origin. Now we're going to learn how to do it on paper. So there is a handout that goes with this. If you don't yet have the handout, you need to get it. You may have to pause the video for that. But this is the handout. We're going to do example 3 and example 4. Now what you're going to do is put your pen on the or your pencil on the origin, rotate the paper, memorize something, and then rotate it back. So First, I recognize that it's a 90 degrees clockwise, so I am going to write this down so I don't have to continually think which way is clockwise, which way is counterclockwise. Remember, clockwise is the direction the hands rotate on the clock, and counterclockwise is the opposite of that. So this is 90 degrees clockwise. Now you're going to take the paper, putting your pencil down right here on the origin, and you will take the shape and rotate it 90 degrees, and now you're looking at it like this. This is what it looks like rotated 90 degrees. This, you're actually looking at what the answer will be. You're going to memorize something. Let's start by memorizing this point right here. It is over 3 and up 1. Hey, that's 3, 1. Okay, and then we rotate it back. So you'll rotate your paper back. Now you memorize the point 3, 1. You're going to go over 3 and up 1 to the point 3, 1. And that was F, so it becomes F prime. Okay, and you do this one point at a time. Next, let's do the point B. So start by rotating your paper. Memorize a location for B. It looks like it is forward 1, up 5. Hey, that's the point 1, 5. You don't necessarily need to write this down. This is what you're remembering in your head. You're going to do just one point at a time, so you don't have to memorize a whole lot. We'll go ahead and rotate it back. And you will draw in B prime at 1, 5. Okay? All right, you can go ahead and forget that point, and we'll do the next one. Let's do M next. I rotate it. And now I'm looking at the paper this way, so I'm kind of looking at a cheat sheet. M is located back 2 and up 4. That's at negative 2, 4. So I'm remembering back 2, up 4. I rotate my paper back. And then I'm going to go back 2 and up 4 and make my dot. This was M prime. Okay, now I can go ahead and forget that location. I've only got H left to do. So take the paper, put your pencil down at the center and rotate it. And then memorize where H is. It looks like it's back 2, up 1. That's negative 2, comma 1. So memorize that for just a second. And then we rotate back. And the number that we were thinking was back 2, up 1. And this is the location of H prime. Now we can go ahead and connect those all together. And this is the rotation completed. And we will do these rotations by just taking the paper and actually rotating it, because when you do the rotation with the paper, you actually get to see the answer. You just have to remember parts of the answer and rotate it back and just do a little bit at a time. Let's do this again with number 4. It's also on your paper. Rotate 180 degrees about the origin. Okay, since it's 180 degrees, it does not matter which direction you rotate it. It's halfway either way. Okay, let's start by putting the pencil down in the center and rotating it halfway around. Now you are looking at where it's going to end up. So let's start by memorizing over 2 and up 3. So again, this is just going on in the head, and you're going to forget it after you do that one. We'll go ahead and rotate it back. And 2, 3 is what we decided. It's over 2, up 3. So you should be doing this on your paper as well. Okay, next, we're going to rotate it around halfway again, and we're going to memorize another point. Let's actually memorize the F, which is right at, well, let's go ahead and forget the last one. We're done with it. It is at 1, 5. So over 1, up 5. We're going to rotate back. And at 1, 5, we're going to draw the point F prime. Okay, only one left to do. We go ahead and take the paper, rotate it halfway around. Look at the location of U. U is over 4 and up 5. So I'm going to remember over 4, up 5. Rotate back. And I'm going to go over 4, up 5. And there is U prime. Then you can go ahead and connect the points together, and you are finished with that 180 degree rotation. You rotate your paper to see the answer, You physically do the rotation, then you rotate back and draw the answer. There's a couple more examples on the paper that we'll be doing later in the notes, so keep it handy. They'll be on the next video though.